Hey everyone, welcome back to another PNSO review. Today we're going to take a look at Xinchuan, the Sinraptor. Another pleasant surprise from PNSO. Sinraptor is a species of dinosaur you rarely see in figure form, and surprisingly, I got this figure in before the Acrocanthosaurus. I ordered the Acro well over a week before this figure was revealed, but this one got here first, but the Acro should be here in a couple more days. Now, I actually ended up ordering this one off of Amazon. When I saw it pop up on there, it had free shipping, and now you have to pay for shipping. Same thing through AliExpress. They're charging like a small shipping fee now. That's because inflation is just absolutely out of control, and it's very, very expensive to ship anything right now. Now, if you'd like to order this figure for yourself, I'll leave links down below in the description to AliExpress and Amazon. Now, let's just go over the package really quick before we take a closer look at this figure. It comes in the standard Prehistoric Animal Models box. It is number 62. PNSO's been cranking out a lot of figures over the years. On the top of the box, you get a nice close-up of the Sinraptor's head. And just like most figures, you do get a nice pamphlet with some artwork and information about Sinraptor. We get some nice close-ups of the figure, and then we also have some nice artwork in here. There we go. That is some nice looking Sinraptor artwork. I wish the color scheme was on the figure. It's much better looking than what they decided to do on the figure, but it has some nice artwork, and of course you do get a nice little poster featuring that beautiful artwork we just saw in the pamphlet. Very, very nicely done. PNSO really needs to switch up their color palette. I'm really sick of all the gray and brown. Even though this one is brown, it has some nice reddish coloration in it. Much would prefer this color scheme on the actual figure itself. So anyways, let's throw the Sinraptor up on the turntable and take a closer look. And let's have a nice 360-degree view of the Sinraptor. A nicely done figure, but not without its flaws. Sinraptor is a type of Metriacanthosauridae from the late Jurassic of China. Metriacanthosauridae are related to the Allosauridae. The color scheme, it's just, like I said, I'm getting really sick of the grays and browns that PNSO constantly uses on their figures. Their Centaurosaurus was a breath of fresh air with the greens and yellows, and I hope they add some brighter colors to future releases, because just like all their figures are just starting to look the same to me, and I feel like the color palette on the Sinraptor, it looks just like their Torosaurus. Now, the front half of the figure is great. The head, neck, and body are just nice and thick and powerful looking until you get to the tail. The tail is very skinny and shrimpy looking, and I feel like Prehistoric Planet kind of ruined me. We have all these big portrayals of big chunky dinosaurs, and the front half of this figure does fit the bill, but just the tail is just very skinny looking, and it's just kind of off-putting. It turns me off the figure a little bit. I like the figure, but that is definitely its biggest flaw, is just that really shrimpy looking tail. And now for some measurements. This figure, if you measure along the curve of the tail, is about 9.5 inches long, or 24 centimeters, and about 3 inches tall to the top of head, or 7.6 centimeters. So there is a few size estimates for Sinraptor. The first one is 25 feet, or 7.6 meters. That will put the figure at 131 scale. The other size measurement is 29 feet, or 8.8 meters. That will put this in the 136 scale range. And there is one more larger size estimate, because some paleontologists think that the Sinraptor specimens represent subadults. That size estimate is 37.7 feet long, or 11.5 meters. So that would put this figure at 147 scale. So pick whatever scale works for you. And as you can see, the figure does come with an acrylic stand, which I am using because right out of the box, this figure is not the most stable. So if you don't want your figure falling off the shelf, I highly recommend you use the stand that comes in the box. And now let's zoom in and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure, starting with this beautiful head sculpt. Nice fleshed out head, no shrink wrapping whatsoever. You can see some nice fine scale details all over the head. That head crest is nicely sculpted. Has a little bit of light brown paint. Kind of wish it was decked out in a little bit more vibrant color to break up all the gray. The eye is painted in yellow with a black pupil. You can see the nostrils sculpted in nicely, and the ear canal. Now going down to the teeth, they are very irregular looking. That's because I believe this figure is based off the Sinraptor species Hepingensis, which was once considered a species of Xinchuanosaurus. That skull had very irregular teeth, and you see they match that pretty perfectly. The other Sinraptor species is Sinraptor dongi. I think I said that right. The jaw is articulated. You can open it up that wide, and it does shut with a nice satisfying click. And you can see inside the mouth, the teeth on the lower jaw are very small but nicely sculpted and painted. And then looking inside the mouth, you can see the nasal passage and nicely sculpted. That's a detail I always love seeing on figures. It's a nice little attention to detail. And then inside the mouth, my lighting is just adding a big shadow. You do have some nice details in the back of the mouth. The tongue is also very nicely sculpted. Has a nice gloss coat to give it that wet look. And let's take a look at the head from the front. You get some binocular vision if my camera wants to zoom in on it. The eyes look a little shot quad, but it's really not that bad. And then going on the underside of the lower jaws, you got some nice fine scale detail. A little bit of pink paint on the lower jaw and down to the neck, and pretty much for the whole underside of the body. Nice little pink hue that adds a nice splash of color to this figure. And then going down to the neck, nice beefy neck. You have some large osteoderm sprinkled on the neck and throughout the whole body. And you have a nice row of spikes on top of the neck, and then they kind of go away for a little bit, and then they pop back up along the back, and they go all the way down to the very tip of the tail, going down to the forearms. Very muscular and powerful looking forearms. The hand claws are decked out in light brown paint. Going down to the hind legs, very, very muscular looking hind legs, a lot of folds and wrinkles to convey motion on this figure, especially around the knee area. Going down to the feet, toe claws are also decked out in light brown paint. And then going to the other side, let's take a look at the other hind leg, which is sculpted with the foot lifted off the ground. It's a nice touch. You get some more of that pink paint on the back of the calf muscle. A lot of beautiful scale. I love all the proportionate scales PNSO has been doing lately on their figures. They look really, really great, especially when you get up close. And then going down to the tail, you do have some light gray markings mixed in with that brown and a little bit of the pink. And this is my biggest issue with the figure. The tail does look very small and thin, but I did measure the tail. The tail is actually 5 inches long. The body is 4.5 inches long, so the tail is longer than the body. It's just that this gets so skimpy so fast. It makes the tail look really short and off-putting. That's like my biggest complaint about this figure. And looking at it from the top, you can see it does have a nice thick tail base, but then it tapers off pretty quickly. The rest of the figure is nice and bulky and beefy looking. So yeah, all around a really nice sculpted figure. The swoosh was a little bit brighter and that tail was a little bit more beefier. And let's do it. We always have to do it. Here is our dinosaur bum check, and there is the little cloaca slit. So yeah, pretty decent looking Sinraptor figure. Like I said, it's a species of theropod that's not often made into figure form, so it's nice to have a good, accurate version for our collection. Moving on with comparisons, first up, here is Vitae's take on Sinraptor, and I have to say the PNSO one definitely blows away the Vitae one. I do like the Vitae, it's just a little over textured, but yeah, the PNSO one is definitely the far superior Sinraptor. And let's do a couple Metria Acanthosaurs. Here is PNSO's Xinchuan. Come on, Stan, buddy. There we go. And this figure came out way back in the day when PNSO was given their theropods lips. I have to say, I do like the lip look much better, especially after watching Prehistoric Planet. It makes the animals look much more natural. I know the whole lip thing is like, it's all speculative and still up for debate, but I'm getting kind of a little tired looking at the zombie lipless look on theropod figures, and this is proof right here that PNSO does flip-flop. Hope they flip back to giving their theropod some lips. And here is Collecte's Metria Acanthosaurus. And next up here is PNSO's Allosaurus. And next here is their Carcharodontosaurus. And next up, more PNSO comparisons. Here is their Memenchisaurus, and I have no clue what I just knocked off the studio. And next up here is Safari Limited's Albertosaurus. I think I got a dip on the studio right here. So when I put figures in this little spot, they really don't want to stand. Let's just do a couple Asian dinosaurs. Here is PNSO's Xinchuan Tyrannus. And here is their beautiful, beautiful looking, though overpriced, Centaursaurus. And just look how much nicer the color palette is on this figure versus the Sinraptor. Just like a lot of PNSO figures are just gray and brown, and this one was just a nice splash of color. I would just love to see some like reds and maybe even a little bit of green on the Sinraptor to really make it pop. It's just way, way, way too similar to the Torvosaurus. And let's just do a couple more figures. Here is their Torvosaurus, which shows off that gray that PNSO loves using. And here is the Torvosaurus. You can see that there's just a lot of similarities with the color scheme between these three figures. And let's just end this on the comparison everyone always likes seeing. Here it is with Wilson. So final thoughts on PNSO Sinraptor. I think it's a good figure, but it's definitely not without its flaws. Love the whole front half of the figure. The head is beautifully sculpted. Neck, arms, hind legs, the whole thing up until the tail is just really well done. Like just a nice, beefy, powerful looking animal. Nice proportionate scales. Love the head sculpt on it, but that really thin looking tail just is really off-putting to me. It is longer than the body, like it should be, but it just gets too thin, too quick, and it's just a slight turn off. It just really holds the figure back from being almost perfect. And the other thing is the bland color scheme. PNSO really needs to throw some more splashes of colors on their figures. It's just looking too bland lately, and a lot of figures are just sharing the same color palette over and over again. Other than that, it's the best Sinraptor figure, on the market right now, so a lot of people are going to pick it up, but like I said, it is flawed. And like I said at the beginning of the review, you can order this figure from Amazon and AliExpress. It retails for around $38. Link is down below in the description. So that will do it for the review. I'm still waiting on PNSO's Acrocanthosaurus. For those who've been watching this channel for a while, know I absolutely love Acrocanthosaurus. I'm really, really excited to get my hands on that figure. I got the Dinosaur Stegosaurus that I will be reviewing soon. Some more Jurassic World stuff should probably be coming out soon. So yeah, a couple new reviews popping up on the channel in the next week or so. So stay tuned for those. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.